Hello, welcome back. My name is Charlie, and this is a series that I've been doing here for a few months. This is part 7, I think. Wow, yeah, that was quick. And I basically go through my Goodreads want to read shelf 100 books at a time, or 100 lines at a time at least, because there's some duplicates on there for Goodreads reasons. And basically what I'm trying to do is whittle this list down to something that's actually something that I can use, something that is actually helpful for when I try to pick out my next read. If you've been here before and you already know the deal, there's timestamps below where you can just get right into it. But for those of you who are new here, I'll just go over some quick details about how I go about this. First of all, this is part of a series, but you don't have to go through this series in any particular order. So if you're starting here, that's totally fine. There's a couple books that we'll mention as we go through it that I've probably already talked about in previous videos, but it doesn't really change anything. So you're fine to start here. And the only other thing that I'll really mention here is that the basic intent of this video for you is to just have it on as background noise. You can put this on and kind of mindlessly listen to me talk about a bunch of books on my want to read shelf on Goodreads. And then if you hear me talk about one and you think what I said was wrong, or you want to recommend that I read, maybe if I mention, I'm going to read this book by this author, and you think that I should actually start with that author on a different book, let me know that. If you hear me take something off of my list that you think that I should absolutely keep on my list, tell me why that is. If you hear me keep something on my list that you think I should absolutely skip, tell me that too. There's a couple authors on here that you'll maybe see me just kind of automatically remove their books, like Stephen King. I'm sure Stephen King will come up. He comes up on just about every video that I've made so far going through this list, because I've essentially added like all of his books at some point to my TBR, but right now I'm going through and I'm removing them all from my TBR, and that's because I've never read anything by Stephen King, so I don't know if I even like his style, and so because of that, I don't need to have 50 of his books on my list. I should start with one, and if I like that, then I can add a second book after that. So, there's some authors like that, and then there's some authors where I break that rule for, maybe I've read one thing by them and I want to check out more of their books, and I know that I like their style, so I'll leave more of them on. Some authors like R.F. Kuang, like I haven't read anything by R.F. Kuang, but for some reason I've decided that I'm leaving all of her books on my list. So there's some rules, and most of the time I break the rules because I make the rules and the rules don't really matter. But those are some things to keep in mind as you're watching this video. But that's pretty much it. So I will see you back here at the end of the video. All right, so last month we ended on The Max, and we took that off of the list. And so picking up where we left off, we have Hangs a Man, by Shirley Jackson. Shirley Jackson is an author that I definitely am interested in reading. It says here that this is her second novel. And while I do want to read Shirley Jackson, I do not want to start here. So I'm going to take this off. I think where I want to actually start with Shirley Jackson is The Haunting of Hill House. As far as novels go, even though I've heard really good things about We've Always Lived in the Castle, but if I want to start short stories, it's got to be The Lottery, which it's a short story, so that's like you sit down, you read it, you're done. I think that would probably... Actually, wait, I have read one thing by Shirley Jackson, now that I think of it. It was a different short story. Can't think of what it is. So I guess the next thing that I read is either going to be The Lottery or Haunting of Hill House. But regardless, it's not going to be Hangs a Man, unless somebody tells me that I am wrong to be saying this and changes my mind. Next up, this is an insta-keep. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a memoir that I've talked about a few times on the channel recently. I want to read a memoir this year, and this is one of two that I have my eyes on. So yeah, this is definitely going to stay on for sure. I've heard it's really good, and she narrates the audiobook herself, and she has a background in acting, and so I'm sure that she does a good job. Plus, it's a very emotional and personal story of hers, so just regardless, I'm sure she does a great job with that. And I think it sounds like it's an important story to read. House of Leaves. I've heard things about this book. I think I'm just going to take it off. It seems very well loved. I mean, it's got almost 190,000 ratings and 20,000 almost reviews, and it's sitting at a 4.09 stars on Goodreads. So, very well loved. But for some reason, the description doesn't do it for me, and I stumbled across this review here. Totally infuriating. It made me feel dumb, bored, and annoyed all at once. If I want that, I'll date my first boyfriend again. Which is a terrific comment. Which that didn't really sway me one way or the other, but I don't know. It just doesn't speak to me. I've said before in these videos, there's a lot of horror books that I do want to read before I read this, and because of that, it's gonna go. Maybe I'll read it eventually. Tender as the Flesh is one of those horror stories that I want to read, like now. So it sounds horrible. It sounds horrible and brutal, and visceral and vivid, and from the people that I know that have read it, it just sounds like it's not a good time at all to read it, but in a good way, like in an intentional way. I think generally it's about like if it was legal to eat people, it goes into that. So it's legal to eat people. So now we have people living in the conditions that we have animals living in real life. And it explores that. Like what does that mean when we can eat people, when we treat people as we do animals? So I think it's, I don't know if it goes into the ethics of that, because it's a world where that's legal. So I don't know how ethical it can get. But it sounds brutal and scary, and I don't know. I for some reason it ever since I heard about it, I've wanted to read it. So that is going to be read by me. Vert. This doesn't sound familiar. I have no recollection of ever hearing about this author, Jeff Noon, or this story. It's a cyberpunk story. I don't remember ever hearing about it. I mean, it's well loved, but again, it's not super speaking to me, and it's gone. It's out of here. The Boy on the Bridge. This is a book by M.R. Carey, which I haven't read the first book in this series. I want to read the first book in this series, and if I like that, as I think I will, then sure, I'll pick this up. But it doesn't need to be on my list until I finish The Girl with All the Gifts, the first book, which I do have up on my shelf, and I have read half of it years ago, and I did enjoy that half, but I just wasn't in the habit of reading back then, so just never got around to finishing it. Regardless, this is going to be off of my list just because I'm not there yet. Starter Villain by John Scalzi. There is a scathing review of this on Daniel Green's channel. I have read one thing by John Scalzi, I believe, the Kaiju Preservation Society, but I loved it. I thought it was really good. And this, I believe I bought strictly because of that right there. Obviously, have you passed that up? I pre-ordered it because I thought the cover was so good. And it's well reviewed. Daniel Green hated it. I don't know why. That just always sticks in my mind now when I see this. And it honestly has swayed me away from picking this book up off my shelf, even though I do think that I will like it. And I did buy it on purpose, and it's got, the main character's name is Charlie. There's a lot of reasons for me to pick this up. And then just this one negative review on the internet has definitely pushed me away from reading it, which honestly makes me not want to put a lot of negative reviews out. I'm not interested in creating that content because a lot of people did like this book, and I bought it on purpose because I want to read it. But I don't know. I don't like that one review has several times deterred me from picking this up off of my shelf. So anyway, that was a tangent, irrelevant, whatever. But long story short, I am gonna leave this on my TBR. There's other John Scalzi probably on my TBR, but I think that's okay. This is the only one that I own. but I know there's other things by him, like what is it, Red Shirts, that I also separately want to read. And since I have read one of his books, I do know that I like his style, which is different from like a Stephen King, where with a Stephen King, I only want one book on my list because I haven't read anything by him, so I don't know if I want to read any of it or all of it. I definitely don't want to read all of it because I have to start somewhere. But with John Scalzi, I have started, so I'm going to keep it. Saves the Cat writes a novel. I want to understand the title of this book, or Save the Cat writes a novel. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Like in English, that doesn't mean anything. Writes a novel. But regardless, I have this on my shelf as well, and I do want to read this. I have a few friends that have look at this. These are the exact two people that I was going to talk about that have read this. Both of them are writers. I mean, Andrew Watson has 2 full-length novels published, 1 novella published, and Mair is working on her own writing. And this book, I know Andrew says that it helped him a lot, or at least he likes a lot of the ideas. He got a lot out of it. And Mair, it didn't work for her. So, I think it's a little bit, it does work or it doesn't work. What do people call that? Marmite or something? And I don't know if I think it'll work for me, but I am interested in writing. I do write every now and then, and I think it would be cool to pick this up. I think it does a lot, or talks a lot about outlining a novel, which is not something that I do really, or like I don't do it with any sort of like intention. Like I don't do it well. I guess like I have a plan, I write a little bit of a plan, but for the most part I just sit down and I start typing and I just see where I go. So I'm curious to see if there's anything in this book that does make me think like, oh, okay, maybe I should spend a little time outlining. But I don't know if it super fits with my writing style. Regardless, it's gonna stay. Desert Creatures. Ooh, I remember this cover, and I think this was a cover ad. I think I judged this by its cover. Again, it's a horror, dystopia horror. I have a lot of those. I haven't actually heard anything about this by anybody in my circles, so I think I'm just going to comfortably remove this and move on to the next, which is Underland, A Deep Time Journey, which doesn't look familiar, doesn't sound familiar. Robert McFarlane is not a name I'm familiar with. Oh, this is a nonfiction. It's a nonfiction novel. I see. Okay, it actually does sound pretty interesting. It says that it's talking about it's delivers an epic exploration of the Earth's underworlds as they exist in myth, literature, memory, and the land itself. That sounds actually pretty interesting to me. When I opened this up, I did expect to remove it from my list, but I actually think this one's gonna stay. Interesting. Yeah, it's gonna stay. I don't know if that's a good idea, but it's gonna stay. And then I have this one here, Crossings, which I have up on my shelf, and I want to read this really badly. I've talked about this on the channel a couple times before as well, but it's my understanding of it, my rudimentary understanding of it is it seems to be about just roads, right? Road ecology, how road ecology is shaping the future of our planet. And it's talking about how bad the roads are for the planet. I know it talks about like roadkill and about, how the roads interact with the sun in an interesting way with like the planet. It talks about a lot of interesting things that you wouldn't think about. It's an interesting kind of nonfiction book too, because like, I don't know what you can take away from it that you can actually act on. Like, it doesn't seem like it'll be a very actionable read. Like I'm not going to read this, go outside and like tear up my roads, right? Because we use the roads every day. And there's no real way around that. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything that the author does outline that you can like do, or like things that we as a population can do to kind of combat the issues that he'll talk about in this. We'll see. Curious. I have no idea. It stays on the list. The Haunting of Hill House, like I said, I think this is where I will start with Shirley Jackson, so this is going to stay. I'm not going to bring it up because we just talked about it. Divine Might, Goddess in Greek Myth. We've talked about Greek mythology several times while going through this list. I do enjoy Greek mythology. I do want to read more Greek mythology. I don't think this is where I will go next, and because of that, I'm going to take it off. There's enough Greek mythology that I want to get through, and I know this book exists, and if I run out of other Greek mythology books, I'll pick this up, but it doesn't feel like it's, I don't feel pressed to read it now. Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. David Grann is the author of The Wager, which I absolutely loved. He also wrote Lost City of Z, which for some reason sounds less interesting to me than this one, even though I don't know much about this one. You can see right here the movie adaptation tie-in cover. So there is a movie. The movie was apparently very good, but I've heard really tremendous things about this book. So I loved The Wager, like I said, and I definitely want to read more of David Grann's work. He's incredibly thorough in his research. And not obviously, but I've said this before, I'm not a huge nonfiction guy, or I like nonfiction, but I don't read a ton of it. So that's being well researched is probably like a core principle of being a nonfiction author. But David Grann was definitely very well researched, or he researched the topic of The Wager, or that The Wager covered very well. And I'm into it. I'm interested in hearing more of what he has to say. The Making of Prince of Persia. I do want to read this. I don't ever feel compelled to pick it up. I have it on my shelf upstairs. But yeah, I think I'm going to take it off my TBR because I just don't see myself picking it up anytime soon. But I know that I have it, and I see it often because it's just when I walk into my library or my reading room, whatever, I see it and I consider picking it up. I think this is probably going to be a decent amount of these Stripe Press books in a row, because at some point we bought a bunch of books published by Stripe Press. My wife worked at Stripe, and they had some deal where you could get the books that they have. I believe this is one of them. Yeah, this Stripe Press hardcover. That's what we have with this one. So again, it falls in that same category of book that I have and book that I'm interested in checking out, but a book that I don't need on this list because I'm not going to forget it exists, because I see it all the time. And if I ever pick it up, I'll just add it as currently reading. It doesn't need to be here. I don't need a reminder. Same exact thing here. Another Stripe Press. This is the one that I have. Again, it is gonna go. I believe, again, this is the same thing. Working in Public. Yep, I have this one front facing upstairs. So again, it just doesn't need to be on my list. And I think that's it. So Black Cake is the next one. Black Cake. I thought I already took this off, honestly, of this list. I did. It's on here several times. So that's cool. Oh, we've talked about it several times. It looks like. Cool. I hate that, but whatever. I'm going to take it off of the list here. When I can recognize that we have duplicates on here, I've just been removing the row because it's a duplicate. It doesn't need to be on here. Somebody told me that when you add a different edition of the book, it'll be logged in this. This is an export of my Goodreads TBR, right? My Goodreads want to read shelf, and somebody mentioned in one of the comments on one of these videos that the reason that there are duplicates on it could be because I've added different editions by accident of the book. So that's why they're here, I think, and I'm just removing it because I don't need it multiple times on this list. Plus, I don't actually think I want to read the book, so it's gone. Anno Dracula. Yeah, I remember this one sounding interesting, and I think maybe I'd read it at some point, but I think I'm going to take it off because there's other Dracula stories that I want to read first, like Camilla, I think is that the name of the one that I want to read? It's a very short novella. Anyway, I don't think this needs to be on the list right now, so that's going to go. God Killer is another one that I think I've talked about before. Going crazy. Maybe I didn't. Really? Did I not? Okay, yeah, I did. But you can see here, there's the way that it was added to this list. It's God Killer, Fallen Gods, comma, number 1. And then over here, it's just God Killer, Fallen Gods, number 1. So, anyway, duplicate. The duplicate is gone. I do want to read God Killer, but I don't need it on the list twice. Orconomics. People love Orconomics. They just do. It just doesn't sound like anything that I actually want to like. Like, I want to read it because I know people enjoy it. For some reason, it doesn't actually appeal to me. So I'm just going to take it off. A friend of mine read it fairly recently, and he liked it well enough, but I had very similar taste to him, and if he gave it, I think he gave it like 3 stars. That just, to me, means that I'm also probably going to give it 3 stars. So I'm not, it doesn't need to be on here. Acceptance, Southern Reach, number 3. This one I can remove because I have not read Authority, which is Southern Reach, number 2. And Authority, though, that is going to stay. Will I likely get to Acceptance? Yeah, probably. I really liked the first book in the Southern Reach, which was called Annihilation. I liked that a lot. I guess I gave it 3 stars. Maybe I didn't really like it, but I liked it. I thought it was good. It was a compelling read. It was a quick read too. Really interesting. I think it would be better on a reread than a first read, if that makes any sense. I just think there's enough things that when you're reading it the first time, you're like, oh, this is just kind of weird and kind of confusing. But if you read it again, it would almost feel like Easter eggs. Like, oh, like I'm getting what this is going to mean in a fun way. So anyway, I liked it, and I do want to continue. I just haven't picked up the rest of the series yet. But yeah, Southern Reach 3 is going to go. Southern Reach 2, you can stay. Salem's Lot by Stephen King, you're gone, just because I'm taking off pretty much all of my Stephen King. Grady Hendrix, I've talked about this one before. I've taken it off, so I'm going to, again, take it off. Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This sounds familiar. Oh, yeah. This won some awards last year, I think. Maybe the year before. I can't remember, but the Booker Prize 2023, it won that. And I remember adding this because it had won that, and I think, who is it? CJ Talks Books. That's like an Instagram, like Bookstagram guy, and he read it and he liked it. And I added it again because I kind of felt like I should, because it was having a moment. But it doesn't actually sound like anything that I'd be interested in, I don't think. Feel free to tell me that I'm wrong if you've read it, because I probably am wrong. It's probably very good. It just doesn't sound super interesting. I can't really explain why, but it just doesn't. Translation State by Ann Leckie. I just talked about an Ann Leckie book the other day. Was it this one? No. Ancillary Justice is the book that I added by Ann Leckie. I bought the other day, and I want to read that, and that's where I'll start with Ann Leckie. She has a bunch of stuff. I mean, I can see, Ancillary Justice right here. That's gonna stay. But yeah, Translation State, you can go for now. The Raven Tower, you can go for now. Just because I own Ancillary Justice, and I've just decided that that's where I'm going to start with her. I do think that I'm gonna like her style, so we'll see. Hopefully I'm right. Maybe you should talk to someone. My brother loves this book, so it's absolutely staying on my list. I have it up on my shelf. It might even be his copy, honestly. It's a nonfiction psychology book, and it sounds really good. But Lori Gottlieb is the author. It's interesting because it's a memoir from a psychologist, but I believe that they kind of go through cases that they worked on, which feels like it would breach like your agreement with the psychologist, but they must have agreed to it for it to be a thing, or maybe that she changes enough of the stories that makes that okay. But again, I've heard it's really good. I know a couple people that have read it, and they loved it, so that's going to stay. An Immense World. This is another nonfiction book. It's got a monkey on the cover. some sort of monkey. It just sounds cool. It sounds to me, or looks to me, like the book equivalent of watching like Animal Planet, and I like that, so I'm interested. Is another one that's on my shelf upstairs. So yeah, that stays. Crying in H Mart. The next one on here is also going to stay. Same bucket as like the I'm Glad My Mom Died. This is the other memoir that I think I might want to read this year. I'm very interested in reading this. Michelle Zauner is she's part of a band, or she is kind of a band. The Japanese Breakfast is that's what she's called, her like stage name. Which I'm only now realizing how interesting that is, that her band or her like rock star name is Japanese Breakfast, but she's Korean. Although, okay, it says she's mixed race, so maybe she's Korean and Japanese. I'm not sure. I guess I'll have to read her book to find out, huh? It stays. I am excited about that. Bookshops and Bone Dusts. I read Legends and Lattes, and I liked it a decent amount. I definitely want to pick up Bookshops and Bone Dusts. And then there's Brigands and Bread Knives coming out. I think, is that later this year? Expected publication is 2025. So yeah, sure, cool. This will stay. Scott Pilgrim. I'm going to remove these Scott Pilgrims. I am currently trying to decide if I'm going to DNF my read of Scott Pilgrim. I definitely don't need all of the volumes on my TBR regardless, but it doesn't seem like it's for me, which is weird because I absolutely love the Scott Pilgrim movie. But reading through it, it's confusing to me how the movie ever got made based on how little I'm enjoying the comic book, which is, I don't know, it's a weird feeling because, again, I really love that movie. And I think somebody pointed out in my comments recently, it had been Sam Harrison, that they made the movie before this was even finished like being written, which is just interesting. But yeah, it hasn't really been working for me, surprisingly. So it's gonna go. How Do You Live? I think actually this right here is why I added it to my list. The animator from Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle and things like that, those like Studio Ghibli films, said it's their favorite book, and they plan on coming out of retirement to make a movie based off of this book. And that is intriguing because those are incredible things that this person has created. And so if this is good enough to kind of spark his creative juices, I think that's cool. And I would like to see that for myself. I keep my exoskeletons to myself. Last time, I believe I kept this on the list, and it did sound really cool. But again, it's a duplicate, so the duplicate goes away. Ryan Cahill's The Fall. It's a prequel novella, I believe, for The Bad and the Broken. I should probably start with the prequel, I guess. Of Blood and Fire. But then there's The Fall. Interesting. I forgot that this was connected to that. Maybe I should ask Sam Harrison. He loves this series. If I should start with one or the other, although he'll probably say publication order. So sure, we'll go with that. I'll take The Fall off. Musashi. Don't know what that is. Whoa. Oh, I vaguely remember seeing this. It's like a Japanese classic. It's a samurai novel. People also read Shogun. I've heard really good things about Shogun. I don't know if they're really comparable, but it's a big book. And for some reason, I feel like maybe it's not crazy to say that I'll read Shogun first, and then if I need more Japanese literature or like Japanese classic literature, I'd pick this up. But for now, I'm going to remove it. That could be a very wrong thing to do. I don't really know. Ken Follett. I've not read anything by Ken Follett. The Pillars of the Earth, I think, is where you start with Ken Follett. Let me just make sure this is not a duplicate. Okay, it's not. It feels like one of those classics that you should read, but honestly, again, I'm not really feeling drawn to it. So I'm gonna take it off. That also feels crazy. A lot of these feel crazy, but Yeah, I'm gonna take it off. Shogun, I was just talking about. Shogun, I want to keep on here. So I'm going to keep that on here. Into the Labyrinth does not sound familiar. Funky little cover there. Say YA fantasy. It sounds quirky and kind of funny. But I don't know if it sounds like something I need anytime soon. So I'm going to remove that. An Imperial Retinue by Josiah Bancroft. I am sure that this is good. I don't think that I'm going to start here. Not start here. I don't think this is where I'm going to go next. I know that it's not where I'm going to go next. Oh, wait. This is part of the Books of Babel? Oh, never mind. I thought maybe this was like a different thing by Josiah Bancroft, like a different series. But this is a collection of short stories, I guess, short works built upon the Tower of Babel. This interesting. Okay. Oh, I don't know what to do with this. Honestly, I should finish the series first before deciding if I need more from it. That's what I'll say. I'm gonna do that. Unlike with Hexologists, which I'm going to keep because I just bought this and I want to read it. So, yeah, Hexologists. I think it's like a murder mystery, like a fantasy murder mystery. And it was recommended to me and it sounds good. So, I'm going to keep it on my list. The Dispossessed. This, what did I talk about in the last two videos? It was like 2 videos ago, the last book that we talked about. So I mentioned it again at the start of my last video. Ursula K. Le Guin, Ross over at Hardy's Books mentioned, or not mentioned, but loves Ursula K. Le Guin. I mean, a lot of people do, but he's my person that loves Ursula K. Le Guin. So I'm going to go to him and ask him where I should start with Ursula K. Le Guin's works. And yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if that's where I'm going to start with her stuff. Every Heart a Doorway. Wayward Children. Wayward Children sounds familiar, but other than that, this does not sound familiar. Fantasy, YA fantasy, mystery kind of stuff. I'm gonna remove that one for I can't explain why. It doesn't seem. It looks like doorway fantasy, and I don't feel like I'm in the mood for that. So that's gonna go. Bird Box. I don't know. I added this. I liked the movie well enough, but I don't know if I need to read it or that I feel very compelled to like experience the story again, but in a different way. You get different things out of a book than you do a movie, obviously, but I just don't feel compelled, so I'm gonna keep it just the way it is. I'm taking it off. Monstrilio, I've already read, so yeah, it's on here twice, and I've already read it, and I've already taken it off the other time, so just gonna delete that. We just talked about Shogun. That's confusing. Shogun Asian Saga 1 and Shogun the Complete Novel. Oh boy, I don't know which of those I should read. I mean, Shogun the Complete Novel doesn't even show up when I search Goodreads. Yeah, I think the Asian Saga #1 is all I need. Yeah, this one's gonna go. The Will of the Many I've also already read, so I'm gonna remove this. This should already, weird that that's on this list. Maybe I did this export before I read it. That's possible, I suppose. Either way, I don't need that on here at all. Door to Door Bookstore. Murphy Napier read this and loved it. Made it sound good. It gives me big like Man Called Uva vibes. So it sounds interesting. Sounds good. Sounds like it's probably like a sweet. Oh, look at that. For fans of, A Man Called Uva. It sounds like it's a sweet, heartwarming story of a curmudgeon-y man. So I'm going to keep it. Yeah, why not? Bloody Rose, the band #2. This is going to go away. The Kings of the Wild is book 1. I don't need book 2. I haven't read book 1 yet. So I do hope to read that soon. Juniper and Thorn. This cover looks familiar. It's a fantasy horror kind of thing. But I'm gonna remove this. It looks familiar, but it just, I don't know. The story doesn't sound like, I don't know. It's not jumping out at me, so it's gone. One Punch Man Volume 28. I have read 30 volumes of One Punch Man, so I don't need this on here. It's very possible that I hadn't read this at the time of this export, but regardless, by now at this point, I've already read it. It's gone. Promise of Blood, Powder Mage #1. This sounds cool. It's like fantasy, but what do they call it? Flintlock fantasy. So it's a fantasy book, but they have guns. Is essentially like that's the setting kind of. If you have to set the scene, that's where you go. But yeah, it sounds good. I want to read it. It's gonna stay on my list. The Rivener. This is an odd one because it does sound really good, but it just doesn't feel like something I'm gonna pick up anytime soon. And so, if that's the case, I feel like I should just remove it. And if it's meant to be, I'll find my way back. Right? Is that how that goes? I'm gonna take it off. The Forgotten Beasts of Eld. Doesn't sound super familiar. Whoa, that is some kind of cover. I mean, that's definitely an action figure, right? Like that looks like somebody just has this toy dragon and they took a picture of it and then photoshopped the rest on. Published in 1974. Okay, so this is like some sort of classic fantasy book. I mean, could be cool. I don't know. I'm gonna remove it. Why not? Sure. Reckless Abandon. These next three, I was just talking to somebody about these online. P. Jelly Clark is good. I've read one thing by P. Jelly Clark so far. I think just one. Dead Cattails Assassins. And I liked it quite a bit. And I do want to read more. And he's got this Dead Jin universe. And these are all prequels or they're at least related stories, and they seem to come before A Master of Jin, which I've heard really good things about. So I think I do want to read all these, and I could and probably should just leave this 0.1 on here, but I'm just gonna leave them all on, and I can't explain why, and I won't explain why. They're all gonna stay here. They're really short. This one I have upstairs on my shelf. It's super tiny, and these other two I believe are available online for free, so you can just kind of read these. So anyway, I'm gonna leave these on. They're all really short, and I want to read them. They're gonna stay. Medusa by Jesse Burton. I think this is another one that I'll take off because I do think Medusa is very cool. But again, there's other Greek mythology that I have on my list that I think I would just get to first. A Day of Fallen Night. This is one of those. Yeah, okay, absolutely removing from my list. I just keep hearing more and more people say that these books are too long and that they're not that interesting. They don't sound very good to me. I keep leaving them on. I know some people love them, but they just sound boring. I don't know why. They don't sound fun. It's off the list. The Builders. That doesn't sound familiar. Daniel Polanski? Yeah, okay. Whoa. What's going on here? Oh, interesting. A Missing Eye, A Broken Wind, A Stolen Country. The Last Job Didn't End Well. Ooh, wait. This sounds really cool. Dark fantasy novella about animals? Sounds really cool. I don't remember ever seeing this before, but I must have. That's a keep. I'm keeping that. Very cool. I don't know. I'm into that. The Seep. That's a cool cover. Huh. Another novella. I wonder if this was like I was having like a novella moment, but let's see what this is about. Okay, I'm gonna leave it off. Take it off. Yeah, I'm gonna take that one off. That's okay. The Tusks of Extinction. I feel like I've already talked about this one. Have I not? Ray Naylor. Is Ray Naylor... They wrote A Mountain in the Sea, I think, right? Yeah, okay. Ray Naylor, The Tusks of Extinction, same author, I believe. I don't know. I see this cover often, and I never can decide. It looks cool. It does. It sounds cool. Like the story sounds good, or it at least sounds really weird. Yeah, here it is. They say somebody was murdered a year ago, and her digitized consciousness is uploaded into the brain of a mammoth. I don't know why they would do that. They've resurrected a mammoth and they put somebody's consciousness into it, but I don't know why. But I don't know. It kind of sounds cool. I'm gonna remove it. I just am. I don't sound very excited. I don't feel very excited. It's gone. Small things like these, I do want to keep. I think. Small things like these, and then Foster. Those are the two that I can't decide which one I want to go with. I think I'm going to keep both. Oops, I removed Claire Keegan's name. I think I'll keep both of those. Small things like these and Foster. And I'm going to remove these other two, Antarctica and So Late in the Day. I don't know why I feel convinced that I'm going to like Claire Keegan. I've heard a few people talk about Claire Keegan, and they have nothing but phenomenal things to say, They have nothing but good things to say about her writing and her stories, and they're all, at least these two at least, are like novellas, so short reads. They sound very emotional. They sound good. So anyway, I'm gonna keep them because I make the rules and there are no rules. There we go. Skies End. I talked about this recently a few times. I bought it thinking that I was doing a cool thing and buying something uninfluenced, but then I came home and I tried to add it to my TBR and it was already on my TBR. So somebody told me about this book at some point and I said I wanted to read it, and it's still true. I do want to read it. So I'm gonna leave it on my list. The Prophet and the Idiot does not sound familiar. It's like a comedy book, I guess, or like a humorous book. I'm just gonna take it off. It's probably fun. It just doesn't sound right now to me. It doesn't sound like anything I need. This is probably gonna feel similar. It's a book by the same author. It's probably just like another. Okay, yeah, humor, contemporary, historical fiction. Yeah, not grabbing me. You're gone. Just Stab Me Now. Who are these people? I don't know what this is. Jill Barup. Cool last name, Barup. Fantasy, romance, humor. I don't know. Oh, okay. I was about to remove it, but Timothy Burbage liked it. 4 stars. Liked the main plot. Enjoyed the subplots. Enjoyed all the characters. And he just didn't like the ending. Or, okay, he liked the ending, it almost sounds like. But then it just kept going. And it was too long. Interesting. Okay, maybe I'll just take Tim's word for it. And I'll keep it. I didn't expect that, honestly, when I opened this one up. But I trust Tim. I keep. Timothy Burbage, by the way, he's a friend of mine. He has a great YouTube channel. I highly recommend that you check that out. Devil House by John Darnell. Spooky cover. I don't know. It's a crime horror. I'm not feeling it. You're Gone. Compulsory Murderbot Diaries. I don't remember that this exists, but it's probably a prequel. And it's 8 pages, and I've read 4 Murderbot books. Why not? I'll keep this. Sure. The Yellow Wallpaper, this is a funny one to have on here. Sure, I would read this. I've already read it. It's really good. It's a short story. If you have not read The Yellow Wallpaper, highly recommend it. I think it's one of the first short stories that I've ever actually read. I read it in school at some point, but it's really good. I remember not appreciating it the first time that I read it, but then reading it again years later in, I think, just like a different class and loving it, like getting a lot out of it. It's really good. I can't even, I don't want to tell you really anything about it because it is a short story and it has been a while since I have read it, so I don't want to get it wrong, but highly recommend. Really, really, really think people should check that one out. Stephen King, as always, I'm removing all Stephen King until I get to the end of this list and I decide which Stephen King book that I'm actually going to start with. So that's gone. Stone Blind. This is another Greek mythology retelling or reimagining about Medusa. I just removed one, and I think I will remove this one as well. Goodbye. Again, not that I don't want to read it. It's just, I just don't think it's what I want to read next. Okay, without even opening any of these up, actually, no, I'm going to open one of these up because what's happening here even? Okay, these next 4 entries I'm confused by. There's Michael J. Sullivan, and this is a book. Okay, this is a book, The Rhaeria Revelations #1. I don't need 5, 6, 3, and 4, so these I can definitely remove, but 1 and 2, Theft of Swords. Explain to me what's happening here, Michael J. Sullivan. Theft of Swords, I think, is what I would actually start with. Or, like, that's the Michael J. Sullivan book that comes to mind when I think of him as an author. So he self-published his books initially, and then it looks like maybe when Orbit picked him up, they kind of combined them into, like, for some reason put books 1 and 2 into one book, and then book 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. That's a weird thing that they did, but sure, I'll just keep this one on. Miss Percy's Pocket Guide to the Care and Feeding of British Dragons. What a mouthful. This book and this series is, like, I feel like one of Mair's, Mair over at Lady Mair Reads, like, favorite books and series. Talks about it all the time, absolutely loves it. And she makes it sound really good, and I think that I will love it, so it's going to stay for sure. Molten Flux is also going to stay. I think this is an indie published book. It just looks really good. It gives me very, like, Mad Max vibes in this, like, cover, and the setting, I think, is pretty Mad Max. At least that's what I think. I think that's true. I'm not sure 100%, but feels like that's accurate. Definitely interested in that. And I own it too, so I want to read that. In the Lives of Puppets, TJ Klune. I'm going to keep this on here. A couple of my friends just read it recently and loved it, so that stays. Return of the Griffin, I've already read, and I liked it. This is a hybrid helix book. Oh wait, did I not read this? Am I insane? I'm crazy. I did not read this. I was thinking that I read 2 things in this series already, but that's because I read a prequel novella and then I read book 1. I like book 1 a lot. I like both of those a lot, the prequel and the first book. Really, really good, and I'm looking forward to continuing on with the series, but I have not read book 2, so this is going to stay. It's exactly where it needs to be. Savage Legion doesn't sound familiar. Sounds like it's probably pretty cool, but it doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't feel like I need to keep it on my list. I can't really super explain why, but yeah, that's going to go. I'm going to take that out. To Shape a Dragon's Breath. Why do I feel like this doesn't feel like it's for me? This might be why I feel like it doesn't feel like it's for me. Yeah, Mair did not like it. I trust Mair's opinion. I'm going to take it off. I don't feel compelled to read it if I know Mair disliked it so much. Silver Under Nightfall. Somebody's 2-star rating of it is just a frowny face. You poor thing. They didn't like it. It's a queer fantasy vampire horror romance. There's a lot going on there. I don't know. Sounds kind of wild. Sure, you can stay. Azincourt. Honestly, doesn't sound super interesting to me. It's historical fiction. I don't know. Just doesn't feel like it's on my short list here. It's probably good. Sounds good, but I don't feel the compulsion. River God, Ancient Egypt 1. I think probably similar here. Historical fiction about Egypt. Again, could be interesting, but I don't want it. Goodbye. Wayward by Amelia Hart. For some reason, I feel like I talked about this already. I did, and I said I want to read it. So that's great. I'm going to just remove it, or, remove the duplicate and move on. Ascendant by Michael R. Miller. I do want to read this. This is like, it gives me like Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon or How to Train a Dragon. That kind of vibe. It's this boy and his dragon is blind. So that's I think the crux of the story, at least the intro. So it sounds good. I'm interested. I think it's YA. Yeah, YA. But yeah, sounds good to me. Harbinger of Justice. Aha! I have finished this book, and I liked it a lot. So that can go away. Speaking Bones. I don't need a book 4 on my list. So goodbye. Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. It's a fantastic book. I technically have read most of it back in school, but I want to pick it up very soon. So that's going to stay on here. It's a book on writing. It's a fantastic book on writing. If you are at all interested in writing, this is like, you know, if I'm going to recommend a writing book to anybody, which I'm unqualified to do, but it would be Bird by Bird for sure. No questions asked. Yeah, it's really, really good. And finally, the Book of Love, which has a cover that is very familiar to me, but I don't think it sounds like it's my speed. So, a pretty easy one. I'm going to remove it. Nice. That's pretty good today. That's it. Okay, that was really good. We went through another 100 items on the list, and we cut it down to 39. That's a lot of cuts. I'm very excited about that. I was nervous that the further we went through this, the more books that I would have added, like with intention. Like I would have added books that, you know, are more up to date with my current reading tastes. But no, apparently I've continued to add books to this list with reckless abandon. So that's super exciting that I'm able to cut it down that much this late into the game. You know, we still have a couple hundred more here, so it could still veer in that direction, but as of right now, we're looking good. As always, if you heard me talk about anything and you think I made a mistake, maybe I left something on that you think I should take off, or maybe I took something off that you think I should leave on, please let me know down in the comments. It's always super fun to go through those comments and look back at the mistakes that I've made and try to adjust. And I'm looking forward to making the final video in this series where I'm going to go through all the comments on all the videos and address them in kind of one video. I think that should be super fun. So thank you again, as always, for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, I have a whole playlist where you can go through the rest of these videos that I've made so far. Also, feel free to subscribe so that you know when I put up the next one of these videos, and maybe consider checking out some of the other content I have here on the channel. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.